show you guys some reamping that's going on here. So, okay, so imagine that you record your main rhythm tracks on the left side and the right side with the same guitar. Imagine that you only have one really good amp, one speaker cabinet, etc. Now the problem with this is that when you reamp your performance for the left side, it will sound identical to the performance on the right side. And you can put like a plug-in on one of those in order to you know, give it a slightly different tonal character, and or you can do any number of other things to try to make the left and the right side sound just a little bit different. And the reason why you want to do that is because if the left and right side performances sound identical, then it tends to center out the stereo spread. It tends to monoize it. Now, the very fact that the left and right performances are slightly different from each other is the reason why you get the stereo effect. But you start to fall back into a kind of a mono or mono-dimensional sound when you have the exact same tonality on both left and right. So one of the things you can do, for instance, is you can put a pedal, let's say, on the signal when you're reamping, let's say, the left side, and then pull the pedal out when you're reamping the right side. Maybe like a tube screamer pedal, and just set everything, you know, to set the distortion to 0, and it just changes the phase and the tonal quality slightly, just enough to kind of open up the stereo field a little bit. Now, one of the things what I'm doing, let me show you the setup that I got going on here. So here is where it says guitar left and guitar right. These are the two performances. And then audio 24 and 25 is microphone 1 and microphone 2 on the speaker cabinet. And then audio 26 and audio 27, I haven't named those yet, is the same thing, is microphone 1 and microphone 2 for the right side. And we're doing a pass right now, actually. So what we get is so here's how the signal chain runs. Guitar, let's talk about guitar left, but it's the same with guitar left and right. Runs out of the DA converter. So I have an external DA converter, but most people will have just like an audio interface of some kind. And I go out of that into a reamp box. Right there, that cord right there, that XLR cord. And then out of the reamp box into a good quality short 1/4-inch cable, which runs into the amp. Okay? And then the amp has, then there's the speaker cord, and I got a long speaker cord. And you can run long speaker cords without a problem. Hopefully they're good quality. And that runs upstairs. So, let's talk about what you just saw. So what you just saw what you just saw is a 412 cabinet. It's got two different types of speakers in there. It's got the Celestion 85s, and then it's got some Celestion Vintage 30s in there. And so what I've got is I'm just running one side of the cabinet as a 212, and then you saw like a green blanket kind of muting out the bottom speaker, and because that's the 85, kind of, you know, so just get that out of the scene pretty much. And then you saw two SM57 microphones on the top speaker, which is the Vintage 30 speaker. And you saw them both, one right on top of the other. And so actually, now that it's not playing, I could go back and show you more closely, but you could just rewind and look. Basically, the top 57 is pointed at the speaker right where right at the edge of the cone, and then the bottom SM57 is pointed at the speaker somewhere in the middle, kind of the middle of the paper section where it's darker. And I have them both, you know, vertically aligned. So they're on the same plane. And I'm probably always using one SM57 right there at the edge of the dust cap, you know, right at the edge of the perimeter of the dust cap, right where the dust cap meets the rest of the speaker. I always pretty much have 157 there. And then somewhere else I've got another 57 that is either closer to the dust cap or further from the dust cap, depending on how much brightness I want in my second microphone. So the first microphone right at the edge of the dust cap is going to be really bright. And then as you pull a microphone away from the dust cap towards the outer edge of the speaker, it gets darker and darker. So somewhere halfway in between there I'll start with, and then I might move that second one around a little bit, often keeping them at the same kind of you know, vertical plane like that, like you saw. So yeah, so there you go, and then those run back into a snake, which runs back downstairs here, and then runs into this Focusrite preamp. That's what I'm using these days. I used to have some nice Calrec preamps. I sold those, and just because I just wasn't using them very much at all. And I can't remember what I bought with the money, but some other gear. And I got this Focusrite, which is really a great preamp anyway. It's a cheaper thing. You know, you can get this thing for like $600, $650 or something. And it's this is about as low cost of a preamp as I would use. I wouldn't use, you know, what's built into some kind of a guitar interface or anything like that myself. This still sounds as good as any, you know, other kind of vintage preamp, just different. It's a little cleaner probably than like a Neve or a Calrec or something like that. It's more on the clean side, but still high quality. And now what I do though, when I'm reamping left and right, what I'm doing right now to make, let's say, the right side slightly different, like I was talking about earlier, is on this preamp, it has a selectable transformer impedance. And so I will set it, like when I'm doing the left side pass, I'll set it on, let's say that one right there, ISA 110, which is like the original sound that this preamp was when it came out of it comes out of a console. And I'll select it, I'll put it on that one, and then for the pass for the other side, I'll put both of these preamps on medium. And you can pick whichever one, and they all have a slightly different sound. And so that is that slight difference that I have between the left and the right side that pulls the tone apart. I'll also use some slightly different plugins on the left and right one. I'll probably put like some kind of a Neve simulator plugin on the left side, and then on my bus that I mix all. See these two 57s, they get bussed down to a single group track. That's how I mix them. And so these will get bussed down to a single group track. Here we go. These will get bussed down to a single group track, and then these will get bussed down to a single group track. One will get panned to the left, one will get panned to the right, and that's where I put my EQ and my plugins and stuff. So I put like a Neve. I put a Neve. I can show it to you. I put like a Neve plugin on the guitar left on this one, and then like an API or something like that on this one. You can't see that. So yeah, everything goes down to groups. That's how I mix in Cubase. Is almost no tracks are just going out of the main outs. They're all going to, pretty much everything's going to these buses first. Got all the vocals bussed down to a stereo group, cymbals bussed down to a stereo group, a couple of kicks bussed down to a stereo group, snares, toms bussed to a stereo group, bass to a mono group, guitar left to a mono group, guitar right to a mono group, and then leads to a stereo group. And so when if I have to pull all the channels down or something like that, it's pretty simple. I can just pull down these group tracks. But so there we go. And then that's how I do the reamping. And there's nothing really special to it, to getting the tone. I just explained like how I mic up a cab. And we could go back there real quick and look. That PV 5150 is just a standard. It's a 5152, so it's got the better clean channel. But yeah, nothing too special about that. And yeah, okay, we could talk about this a little bit. So there's the cab, and now the cab is not in a closet. It's not in a closet. It's in the main room here, and that's what you want. You want the whole thing to breathe. And it's got, so there's your 257s. There's your 250s. Now that white pencil is marking off another position from another session, and for a while I was, using the same position a lot for a lot of different projects, and so I just had it marked off, but I'm not today. So anyway, there's the top one, and then there's the bottom one, and they're pretty much right, one on top of the other one. And let's see if we can, if I can get a flashlight in there so that you can see. Let's see here. Let's see what we can see here. What can we see? So, see, I got to get right in alignment with that. Now, let's see if I can make this so you guys can see this. Alright. You can't quite tell from this angle, but 57's pointed. I'll just show you on this speaker. Show you on this speaker. So, one of the 57s is pointed right there, right where the light is, right at the juncture between the dust cap and the rest of the speaker. And then the other one is below it, probably pulling away from the dust cap, somewhere halfway, probably about right there. Now when you go up towards the dust cap, all the way to the center of the dust cap, that's the brightest place in the whole speaker. Just straight into the center of the dust cap. And then as you start to pull the mic down, this way or across. Anyway, away from the dust cap, it gets darker and darker all the way to the outer edge here where it's the darkest. So I put one somewhere in the middle, about there, and then I put one usually like at the edge of the dust cap, sometimes right in the middle of the dust cap. But and then there's a pillow kind of just out here. Just basically, oh, like I said, there's that blanket blocking off the bottom speaker, and then there's this pillow here, and you heard before, it doesn't muffle it out that much, but it stops some of the reflections from getting back into the mic, you know, bouncing around the room and then getting back into the mic. In a room like this that isn't extremely bright, it's got carpet on the floor, it'd probably be fine without any kind of a pillow or anything. In a bright room with a hardwood floor or something, I'd probably build something and, you know, go around the cabinet and put some pillows or something, you know, some gobos. But generally, you want to let the guitar cabinet breathe. You don't want to you don't want to have it too muffled out. You want it to breathe, and you don't want to put it in a closet. And so there you go. We could listen to what it sounds like now coming out. Let me unplug this for right now so it won't go through the loop there. I don't know what the quality is going to sound like here. You guys could listen to the sounds like a 5150. Okay, there you go. Talk to you later, imperialmastering.com.